So how you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good.
Good. How
Are
about
you
you?
still flying? Good, good. Are you still on the airplane, Maya?
No,
Okay.
in the car now.
Oh, good, perfect. So we're going over FEMA buys and sells. And why we're doing that is because we also are doing the warm sells, right? The calls to these people. And these people that we're giving you, and I'm going to go over how to look at the Monday.com, how to use it, how it works, and everything. But for right now, I'm just going to go over the process of these FEMA properties and what you need to do. So I'm going to start with basically, I want you to understand how to help the owners, how to be the one that they go to for anything that they need. So, working with these FEMA flood clients, their house was destroyed, and the biggest thing is that you want to have empathy with them. You want to understand what they've been going through and understand all the process that's involved because they're getting things from everywhere. They're getting it from insurance companies, FEMA, people, wholesalers calling them every second, mortgage companies. I mean, they're all over the place. So there's a few options that they're looking at in their head. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do. So what are the options that they're trying to figure out is either are they going to sell it? Are they going to keep it and rebuild it? Rebuild it as in, are they going to just fix it, or are they going to tear it down, rebuild up? That's one of their thoughts. And then after that process, say they sell it, now they have to buy again. So they're also looking at, okay, well, but what is the yes, I want to buy again, but now I'm buying in a high interest period of time. So I want you to understand how to work with these customers and how to go through the process with them. So I want you to know all of your tools. So we have multiple tools that we can do. A traditional real estate agent is going to go in and say, hey, can I list your house? Or they're going to say, I'm the best real estate agent. I'll make sure that I can list it and sell it to everybody in the planet. And I'm going to throw it on MLS and just wait for a fish to bite. That's what they're going to go there and tell all these people. Or a wholesaler is going to come in and say, hey, I can give you cash. I want to buy it right now. I'll give you cash and I'll close in 15 days and I have the right to assign. So on the contracts, if they are a wholesaler, you'll always see and you always know it's a wholesaler because I'm telling you this because you're going to have people showing you contracts and stuff like that. But what will happen is they'll come in and they'll say that they have the ability to assign the contract. So they can so they have the ability to assign the agreement to someone else. And that's when you know that they're a wholesaler. If on the agreement it says they have no option to that they're not going to assign the contract, then they are the end buyer. So always check that out. Be the one that can answer that questions for the sellers too, because they're going to have that question. Does everybody know where to look for that on the agreement? On No? Okay. So on the sales agreement, when you look at it, it's going to be on, let me just pull that up because this is really important. It came up just recently as well on one of our projects. So we might as well just touch on this real quick. So this is a for sales agreement. If you come down, and it's a little slow here, and I have this taping, Alec and Pika, um, am I frozen? Shoot.
It's like slow, moving.
Okay. Okay, I'll try to close everything. Maybe if I close that, that will help. Okay, it's just too slow. So once that pulls up, I'll go back to it and I'll show you the assignability. Um, but just want you to know what it looks like. And also because as we're going through this, you may do the cash offer, so you'll know how to check the right box. But okay, so say you're working with these investors or these owners, and they have gone through this horrible tragedy, and all of a sudden their house has turned upside down, completely turned upside down. Their house is flooded. You can just imagine what they're going through. It's not only their house, but it's all the furniture. It's all everything that they've built is gone. Okay, Maya and I have a listing down in West Shore, went through the house. There were their kids, they had books of pictures, their family pictures, and it had spread because the doors are open, trying everything out. There were pictures all over the house. There was this kids' pictures and family pictures, and it's just sad because everything that they have is just gone, wiped out. Their house is there, so they still have their asset, but they're completely distraught. And like I've talked to a few of you guys, there's a lot of people that they're either break down the day that the hurricane happened, a week later, or it could be like a few months later, these people actually break down and the anxiety finally hits them. So working with these sellers is almost going to be a little bit like you're a psychologist too. So you're going to be kind of helping them, guiding them through this. So when you're doing these calls, remember, have that empathy, showing support. You're not going to be in there just saying, "Hey, I want to sell your house. I'm excited. You're going to sell this house." No, this is sad for them. This is hard and this is tragic. So to win over these listings, you're going to have that empathy and support for them. So the first idea that you can do, the first thing you want to approach them with is that, hey, I can help you with a few different options. If you want to keep the house, refinance the house, I have a lender that can help you refinance it. They're really good, low interest. Well, if you want to keep it, and then you can pull out some money to rehab it. Or we also have a contractor that'll do paid at closing. So everybody knows Justin. So you can say, hey, I have a contractor that can do paid at closing, and we can do all kinds of stuff for this property that other agents cannot do. They're not connected with, I don't know any real estate agents that's connected with a paid at closing contractor. So we're very lucky and fortunate. So you can always use that. Say, hey, if you don't plan to sell, I totally get it. You love this area. We're here to help you. I can connect you with these contractors. Also, we have a roofer. We have the paid at closing roofer. The paid at closing contractor will do anything from floor, walls, everything. So you have that option. They say, you know what? I'm done. This is my third one. I've been flooded 3 years. Irma, Elaine, Milton. We got another one out there in the Gulf. Oh my goodness. So they're ready to go. Okay, great. We have a few things that we can do. We can do a cash offer because we have investors, not only just a wholesale deal, but we have a cash offer. I have owners that are willing to put in, or investors willing to put in for these properties ASAP. So if you have somebody that says, hey, yeah, I'm willing to sell it for say 300. The house was done. We could sell for 300. Say, okay, let me talk to my investor, and say my partner. I usually don't use the word investor. That scares them. So you can talk to your partner. So consider your investors as partners. You're partnering with them. You're going to be working these. They want to buy 7 deals this year. They're just not investors. They're your partners. You're going to be partnering with these investors to build their portfolios. So let me talk to my partner. Let me see what we can offer as a cash offer. I know that if it does work out, we can close in 15 days. You won't have any showings. We won't be doing open houses, listings, anything like that. And when you close, you're still going to be getting the insurance money. So say these they're going through, they're getting insurance claims and for 250,000. So that money still goes to the seller. So they may not get it till after closing, but they will get it. Right now, they have to file for it, and they already have filed for it. And sometimes I heard after Irma, it took them like a year to get this money. So, one thing that you have for you, which I'm going to go over a little bit too in a minute, but one thing that we do have is a letter from our lawyer that the investor, and the seller can sign saying that we will not inhibit or keep the insurance company away from the house. We will make sure that we work with the insurance company. So, some of them say, well, I just have to work this out because I don't want you guys to buy it. And what if the insurance company can't get in and I lose that money? Well, we're signing an agreement that we are going to work with them. We're not going to stand in their way. So we do have that above any other real estate company too. So say, hey, I have a partner. Let me see if I can do a cash offer, 15 days to close, no showings, and we are going to work with your insurance company. And you can explain that. The other one is, well, 450. We wanted to sell it for 450. Well, okay, definitely we're going to do it more on the retail side because 450 is more of what the land is worth. Okay. And don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about what I'm saying, like 300, 450, because Try for the cash first, say cash offer, and then if you come back, you approach it to your investors or to me, and it doesn't work out as a cash offer, you can go back. So this is the second call to them. And you say, okay, well, I can't do a cash offer, but here's what I can do. We could list your property for like 5 days, and I can send it to some other investors I have. It'll be off market, won't be on MLS. We can work with paid at closing for the buyers for a higher price. So we can have our contractor come in, rehab the floors, rehab the walls, so that you can sell it for a higher price. We'll make sure that we're including the insurance support. We're going to be there for them. We're gonna be their consultant, not just a real estate agent. So, and then say, but after 5 days, I'll throw it up on MLS and you'll have a bunch of things lined out. You'll have work on definitely, there's an app where you can build like a map of the property, a design, so that you can be there for even to help them with the designs. There's a lot of different things you want to be their consultant, not just their listing agent. But say, okay, and when I list it, I'm not just going to throw it up there on MLS and wait for a fish to bite. I'm going to be putting it all over about 30 different sites. I'm going to be making sure that I'm going out there on social media. I'm going to send it directly to agents I've worked with and the brokerage has worked with that know we do smooth closings. And I'm going to find you that buyer and tell them that this is something you can do. So you can list these homes. We'll get it out there. I'll put it on Zillow Calculator, put it on our website, send it out to all of our investors, see if we can get them to bite. And if not, then we put it on MLS. Does that make sense to everyone? Go ahead, Vika.
Why do we say only for 5 days?
Oh, because only for 5 days off market.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying in 5 days,
Oh, it's like 5 days. It's like, and then you will see if some of the investors that you are working are interested, right? Is that what you mean?
yeah, off market for 5 days, but after those 5 days, you'll put it on MLS. And
Okay.
explain to him those 5 days are the coming soon. That's the secret bottle of wine that no one gets to see except your
Mm-hmm.
investors.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's like a sneak preview 5 days. If there's nobody interested, and they may say, well, I'm willing to do that for 2 days, or some of them say, no, I just want to sell it. Let me just put it on MLS. Let's just go. Then that's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. And while you're getting the data and the information, you can send your investors and say, hey, I got this. It's not out yet. What do you think? And try to do that too. But some of them will say, I have a real estate agent. I'll just get it out there. Well, I could put it out there for a few days, be the secret property because I work with a lot of investors and not just
Mm-hmm.
investors that buy 60 cents a dollar, but there's investors that want to buy a home that needs rehab. So they understand the rehab process of it. Because a lot of traditional buyers are going to be like, no, they want turnkey. Because remember, just a few months ago, you couldn't sell a home that needed to have light switches changed out.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted
Mm-hmm.
turnkey. Millennials, they don't want to walk in, they want to work out of their home and they want to show up tomorrow and work out of their home. So
Mm-hmm.
now you have all of these homes that need rehab before they can move in. So there's going to be a lot of investors out there grabbing these up.
How many investors do we have in your connect, like with, I don't know, like your contacts who are looking for houses?
So right now we have in our database, I have 15,000 in our database that are built up.
And
Those,
you're just like sending them. Mm-hmm.
yeah, cash buyers, emails go out, text messages go out.
Mm-hmm.
However,
Okay.
there's about 200 that I individually email and we're working and calling and talking to.
Okay.
Um, you meet a few at those networking meetings. There's another networking meeting I meet on Thursdays that has about 70 investors that are just local here looking for deals.
Okay.
There's a lot of little uh, nichey things that you do, but overall there's quite a bit that are looking right now. Before they were hiding and waiting, and now they're ready to buy. Now they're ready to go.
Okay.
So so those are two options that we can try just to see if that works. And then after the property sells, another tool that you have is that they say, okay, well, I just don't know what I'm going to do. If I sell the property, where am I going to go? What do I do then? And you can say, well, we do have a short-term rental company as well. So if, say, we sell the property, I'll help you find a place for short term. And then we can do a contingency on this house selling. We could do that as well. This house selling before you buy the next one. And I can help you buy because right now the interest rates are extremely high, yes, but we can help you with taking some of that and assuming the seller's mortgage and still keeping that 3% interest. So I can help you find those properties too. So just going through that list and kind of that rundown, you're just showing that you're thinking out of the box. You're a little more innovative than any other realtor. You're going to try to use all your tools to make it work. So those I just wanted to kind of go through with you guys. See if I can, there we go. Okay.
I have, okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, this is what I wanted to ask. Perfect.
Okay.
You're going into that.
So yeah, this is the long one here. So important facts about the FEMA. Okay, so the 50-50 rule. A lot of you guys, there's a few things I want to touch on, which is a 50-50 rule, the insurance delay on payments, which I'll explain, the permit delays, which we'll go through, and then rebuilding and how to rebuild or build up. So we'll go through these. So the FEMA letter. So the FEMA letter, let me just bring this down here. The FEMA letter. Oh, did I close it? No. Let's see if it's here. There it is. Okay. So this is what the FEMA letter looks like. So this goes to the properties to say how much their value is. This property that we're under contract with is the structure of the value. The value of the structure is $82,000. Okay. So that's how much that they're willing to claim as the property. The land is only worth $227,000. And this is out there on Madeira Beach. So the land is only worth 227,000. That's why a lot of these people are selling their properties for 275, 300 because they're still getting land value. However, this is also and remember this is the borough assessment. So if you get an appraised value on the land, usually it's like 500, 600,000. But these owners are seeing this price. So that's how much the land is. But this is how much their structure was worth. And just a little insight, these little bungalows that are one story, all these ones were, and a lot of you guys were at the meeting the other day, but a lot of these bungalows were from MacDill and they were brought in and they were little barracks that were used on MacDill. So they moved them over to the beaches and that's where they come from. So they're not extremely well built. So that's why their $82,000 is what the value of the land is, or the house. So what you see down here, we go into the 50-50 rule. So adding in the features, the house, a few things. So the structure here is worth $97,359. That's what they're willing to give the owner. This number, not the extra features, just this. So it's $97,000 is the amount of the property. So of the structure. So they're willing to give, what they're trying to say is that you cannot rebuild and have the new structure and the new, like the flooring, the walls, and everything else. It has to cost less than $48,000. If it costs more than this, then they're going to have to go and be compliant with new rules, new regulations. You have to go pull permits for for new structures. You have to get plans. You have to be above elevation. You have to do all that stuff. So if you're going to rebuild this property, you can only rebuild up to $48,000. 50%. Uh-huh.
What if, I'm sorry, because I'm gonna forget, what if like, different contractors, they give you different quotes? So I can find a contractor who'll do it for $30,000 and I have a contractor who's gonna do it for $100,000.
Yes.
So is it dependent on what, like, how will they know which contractor I'm using?
So you're going to be, when you turn in the permits, you're going to be turning in the bid. So if you pull the permit and the permit is out there and you're saying it's going to cost you $30,000, you pull that permit, okay, you got the 50-50 rule, but the minute that the permit comes in and they see the contract and it shows that, well, they had a few other things come up, so now it's $49,000.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go through and restructure this whole thing, and this is even during the process of construction. So right here you've pulled a permit for say $30,000. You go through, you're ready to close the permit, but it ends up costing you $60,000. then you have to meet all the requirements. Okay.
So
So
for now, this is the not to exceed 48,000, but that's just specifically for that property that we're talking about. So for other property, it could be a different number, correct?
yes, yep. So this FEMA rule gets mailed to the
Okay,
owner of each
got
property.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of the one stories you're going to see around this rate, I've seen a bunch of these and this is pretty accurate. You're seeing this, but like the little bungalows, little barracks that are out there on the beaches. But if they're like, say, a three-story and just the floor was done or whatnot, there may be a lot different, maybe more like 200,000, but still you can only rebuild up to 100,000. So there's a few ways around this. Our contractors we work really well with, that say it's $48,000, and I spoke to him today. I met with Pablo, one of our contractors, and he stated that if it's for $48,000, what he's going to do is say, okay, he's just going to do the little stuff, the stuff that's going to be done. But then after if it goes more, like now they want this kind of tile and this kind of this, and they want to get a little further, that's going to have to be a side agreement. So outside, which that's between us. That does not go public, but yeah. But we do have contractors willing to work on this to make sure that it works for the owners. So that's one thing. So also another thing you can do to get around this is just like it says, if you disagree with the property's appraisers, you can get your own appraiser, an independent real estate appraiser. So this assessment is through just the borough's appraising. So if the borough assessment is a lot lower than a normal appraisal. So if the appraisal comes in and they say the value of this is actually 150,000, then you have a little bit more room to grow, but at the same time you're going to pay more taxes because now the property's more. You want to keep that low, so it's kind of a balance that you're kind of juggling there. Um, but this is what every landowner is doing, and this is something that they need to think about. So when you're working with these sellers and they're like, well, I don't know if I want to remodel, rebuild up, or sell it. I want you guys to be knowledgeable on this 50/50 rule because you can say, well, it is going to be tough because you can only, improve the property only 50% without having to go through and get to all new hurricane windows. It has to be above elevation, has to be all new, per code as of 2024. So if that's the case, it's going to cost a lot more. So instead of 50,000 to get it just rehab, they're going to have to be at 200,000 to be all compliant to the new permits.
Mhm.
So that's the 50/50 rule. Do you guys have any questions or anything like this on the 50/50 rule?
Just to summarize, 50%, that's because, for example, for this house, the structure is 97,000, and then they divide it by 50, and that's what it's going to be. But if people are not, they don't agree to that, they can ask for another inspector to come, appraiser come in, because, for example, they think, oh no, my structure is more, it should be appraised at 97, right? And then they submit it to FEMA, right? And then they have to work with you on that.
Yes. Yep. So then they'll get an appraiser to come in, they'll redo
Mhm.
the assessment, get the appraisal at 200,000, say. Then they send that to FEMA. FEMA's going to readjust this and send them out a new letter, and then they have
Mhm.
$100,000 to play with.
Okay, sounds good. I do have a question.
Mhm.
I mean, I understood this rule. Maya, do you have any questions regarding this? Maya, you're good.
Pretty good, yeah.
You're
Thank
good. I'm interested in this because I do have some investors that are interested in flood houses, but they're being very cautious and scared to pursue this. Okay. So they are scared because they're telling me like they can get a good deal right now. The insurance will pay it to the seller, not to them, right? There's
Yes.
no way how the investor is going to come in and get that money, even though if they purchase the house. So the seller gets the money, and then for the investors, basically, They just need to make sure, like, to work on their own numbers. It's on them to work on the numbers that they're getting a good deal, but then they can resell it. And we don't know so far what's going to be the market to resell these properties, right? The flooded, like we don't know yet how consumers are going to react to these properties that were flooded. But then, we've done the rehab, but we just don't know like how people that these are the questions that my investors are asking me. Oh, are you going to be able to sell it for us? I don't know. Like,
Well, no, that's a really good question because what we did at one of our other meetings was go through other hurricanes that have passed in the past. Irma, Michael, way back, all of them. We've gone through them. And what you see is you see a year, especially this one where it's the whole area is gone. So it's going to take a year. People are rebuilding, but what you always see is that right now you have these properties selling for 200,000 where they would have sold for 800,000, but that's because it's low. So the appraisals are seeping down. But a lot of these properties people are buying for 200,000 or say
mhm,
300,000. They're buying the land and they're building up. So within the next year to 2 years, you are not going to be able to buy a piece of land on Sunset less than probably $1.5 million.
mhm.
Because
Okay.
now you have all these properties. Before you had all these little barracks and little,
Yes.
they're going to be gone and they're all going to be built up. So
Okay.
now all the appraised value and all your comparables are going to be shot high because now there's all new construction. There's the value out there is going to be extremely higher. So after every hurricane, people say, oh, well, now the property values are going to be small and low. And
Mhm.
definitely, I hate to say it, but when you're working with the sellers to list the property, I wouldn't push that. No, the costs or the prices are going to go so high after this. I would say, well, it's unknown. But if you're going to talk to your buyers, explain and look, and I'll share with you a document actually that shows the values of the home and how they reacted to the hurricanes. And there is a little doop, and then it goes straight up. So I'll share that with you guys so you can see it as well. But if you're talking with investors, I tell you what is just it's huge the amount of income. So that's why all of our investors are trying to buy all these right now because they know the value. Like, say you buy this house and you put a band-aid on it, you rent it out for a little bit because there's going to be about 6 months before things smooth out, get permits running again, the builders are available, things are moving again. So you have that 60, say 6 months where you're struggling to get construction and rehab. But after those 6 months, you're able to knock this. You bought it for 200,000. You put say 400 to 500,000 into rebuilding and rebuild up. Now you have a 1.5, $2 million home. So you've just gained $1 million. I mean,
What about those cheap investors, the ones that are not gonna put up, but the cheap ones, the one that are gonna like just fix it, then that value is not as high. And then I may run into problems reselling it. Is that true? Because it's been
um,
flooded, but wasn't raised?
not really. The problem that you're going to have on reselling that is making sure that the insurance, that the insurance cost is going to be high. But if they're just putting a Band-Aid over it, they're still going to have to remediate it, make sure everything's qualified and good. If they're just putting a Band-Aid on it to resell it, those properties are still going to be lower. Of course, they're not going to be 1.6 million. But when everything goes from this was 1.2, now it's worth 3 million. This one was this one, and now it's that high. So as those go through, the property values climb. So even if they're buying smaller, you're still going to have an increase in your asset.
Okay, and the last question.
Yeah.
So let's say, we got this house that's flooded. The FEMA tells, oh, you need to elevate it, right? You need to elevate it. How do my investors will know what they can do or not do? Like, um, so let's say if it's okay, let's say it's under 50,000, they're getting the house under 50,000, they're not elevating it. Is there any can they run into some kind of trouble where the FAMA exactly like can the insurance or FAMA, I don't know who does that, but say no, you have to elevate it.
The if it's above the 50% rule, then it has to be
Okay.
elevated.
Okay,
What's going to happen is your investors are going to go to the permitting department and get permits to build at the same level it's at. If it gets through the permits and the permits are cleared, then you're fine.
got
Um,
it.
One thing to help with, say you have somebody though that wants to build, it's over 50%, they want to build up, and now they have to build to a certain height. What most of the cities are doing is 12 feet. So that's the number that they're using is about 12 feet above elevation, which is about the height of a garage. But say one sheet of sheetrock is 8 foot tall. So usually our height of the ceilings is 8 foot tall, just because you don't do 9 feet because then you have to put a bunch of scrap sheetrock. So almost all of our places are 8 feet tall. If you have a garage at say 10 feet, now you have to think, okay, should we take a house that is 8 foot tall, but I have to go another 4 feet? What if I take it down and extend it up? Probably not. It would probably cost less and more effective to just take that down and rebuild it. You know what I mean? Because you'd have to extend it higher, and is it going to be viable to do that? So the cost of that is going to be something you and the contractor have to decide.
Okay. I have a couple of contacts of people who owned hotels, like Airbnbs, right at the beach, and they were like destroyed. And so I'm gonna talk to them, and then if I run into any extra questions, then
Yeah,
I'll just talk to you because those
yeah,
are very expensive properties.
definitely. And we have the investors wanting to eat these up. Like literally ask Maya. She had one of her clients on the weekend because he couldn't go to the bank. Just take a picture of his money and says, "Here's my proof of funds. Ready to go." So I'm like,
Mhm.
no, we can't do that. But the investors are just dying to buy these properties because they see that the value, they're buying these at below. If you were to get assessed value on the land, it says 227. But if you were to get an appraised value on the land, you're seeing 600,000. So you're getting these properties way below value and then building up. So I'll try to run through the rest of it really quick though. But yes, let's definitely work with the as we're going through these, you're going to be getting a lot of questions. Just just call me, talk to me about it, and then we can run through them. The insurance delays on payments, just real quick. So when you have the insurance delays, just to let you know, we kind of touched on this, but it can take up to a year before the owners get the payment. So some of them are saying, "Well, I'm just not sure what I'm willing to sell it for because I don't know what I'm getting back from the insurance company." One way, I know Malik would be good at this as well, when you're approaching these listings, you say, "Okay, well, we would like to buy it for $500,000 minus what your insurance payout is." So $500,000 minus, and a lot of them are around like 190, 200,000. So then we're putting the offer in at three, like right around three. Or you could go in there at say 400,000 minus what you're getting from your insurance payout. So in their mind, they see the imbalance of 400,000 because they're getting that insurance payout. We're not getting it, they are. After closing, they still get it. We do have a signed legal document from a lawyer that's stating that we will not impede on having the insurance companies come through. We'll make sure that we are there for them. So that way they know that. Also the permit delays. After fact rehab is a huge problem because of the 50/50 rule. So we do have FEMA builders, FEMA friendly builders. So we can, and rehabbers that can go out there and definitely work with the clients to make sure that your investors, to make sure that we're under the 50/50. But then the question is rebuild or build up. So one thing you want to do is you can go on to MLS and go to my my flood zone. It's an app. You can go on there and you can pay $25 to get an actual elevation of the property, not just where, it's elevated. Some of the properties kind of go up to where the house is, and it'll give exact elevation, and they'll also plot the land. So that's really important for you guys to have that so that the builder knows what they're going to build. The other one is rehab it, put the band-aid on, or build up. So one thing I wanted to show you really quick is let me see if I have it here. Yeah, so this was what we talked about before. This is the PVC piping, siding. So this is PVC siding that you can actually put on as high as the flooding would go. Why is this important? It's a plastic, but what's good about it is that you can pop it off, let the wood dry out, wipe it down, mitigate it, get the mold off of it, and then pop it back on. So it's the coolest thing you would see because now you have the ability to not have to do all of this stuff again. The other thing is the flooring, tile flooring. Make sure you get the tile because then it, not on top of wood. The other thing I was talking to our builder today and saying, yes, do this part. That's great. But the other thing is seal the outside. Where most of the homes got flooded. So this is for your investors when they rebuild. Where most of the homes got flooded was actually not from the doors or the windows. They sealed that. They put the sandbags or a lot of people put silicone around their doors, which really prevented it as well. But the other thing that they found was that where their dryer vent was just a big old tube and all the water just came rushing in through the tube. So they've done all of this and then the through the dryer vent it just came right in and flooded. So the biggest thing is if you're working in these properties that you're going to rehab and not build up, do maybe think about the PVC siding. Make sure this is tile. Make sure it's sealed as much as you can. The other option is, as you can see here, the electrical is high. So running all the electrical higher than the flood area. If you're going to rehab it and not build up, the other thing you want your investors to consider is making sure that it's built to rehab up to 1 or 2 or 3 stories. Make sure that when you're rehabbing it, you have the right setup. You could put the AC up into higher so that it's above 12 foot. You have the electrical up high. You can have all the different things set up for you so that when you're make the beam strong enough to be able to hold the second or third floor. So as you're rebuilding this here, you want to do those little things that will help you in the long run when you want to build up. So those are just a few ideas. So say you have this, you rehab the bottom floor in say a year or 2 years, what you can do is use that bottom floor as the garage and use that as in keeping it in mind as you design it. Use that as the garage and then you're going to build up tall, build up second and third floor. So those are some ideas you can use for your investors and you're going to be the knowledgeable one for your investors when it comes to this. So, the other thing is all the little ones that are out there, all the little properties, selling those little homes if they weren't completely destroyed. We did see one where it was just the roof, everything else was gone. I said, wow, you're actually just buying a roof. So if there is still a structure there, some people are interested and we're able to, I've talked to a few people about selling that ADU. They'll pay to take that structure, move it to another property, and then they have an ADU accessory dwelling unit or a mother-in-law suite. So they'll take it, move it to another property, and they can use it as a mother-in-law suite as another Airbnb. So that way you're not having to tear it down, dispose of it, because that's a huge cost and labor and all this. Have somebody else pick it up, take it away for you. So that's another way your investors could do. And then the PVC siding that I just went through and the sealed tight. So those are some ideas. We're also going to have our investor meeting again, not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. Pablo's going to come out and he's going to talk about different ways for your investors to rebuild, because we do have a few that are already purchased and they're already in the middle of going through this process. I know St. Pete, Clearwater, and we don't have a moratorium, which means that we're not allowed to build, but we do have you must pull permits now on the beaches to do even sheetrock and to do anything. So right now, what the builders are going through is taking off everything, remediating it, getting it down to where it needs to be. And then they are pulling permits. So they are pulling the permits, but they haven't gone through and the permits haven't been through the system yet. But they've pulled the permit, they're starting the rehab, And then after the fact, if they finally get it to be approved, they can immediately say, okay, it's done here. Now you can show your permit. So Pablo and I got another contractor coming the following week. They're going to go over how this works so that you can explain this to your investor and go through it. Because if you start the permit when you're allowed to pull, when the permits are starting to go through, then you're six weeks out. But if you're pulling the permit now, even though it's going to take 6 weeks to get through, then you're ahead of the game. And just start working. And the Pablo, he's already out there. He's going to start on one of our properties in the next few days. We have he's doing 3 others out there. And so this goes all up and down. So it's not just, I know I'm talking about Sunset, Madeira, but that's just where some of our investors are buying. But this goes up to Tarpon, Wiki Wachi. This goes all the way down. I mean, this covers the whole coast and and even inside. So even inside by Busch Gardens got flooded by the Hillsborough River. So that's another great area to get the sellers is along that river and calling them. So I'm just going to go over really quick. Let's talk about a script. So you're going to talk to these people. And as you're talking to them, this has worked for me a few times, but changes to be something more of what you want to say. This is what I say. Hi, my name is Nadia. I have some friends and families just a few blocks from your home, and I've been helping them after the storm. I saw your property was in the same situation and seeing if I can help you in any way. I know this and I know this is with a tragedy and there's so many things and so many questions they've been asking me. How can I help you? I can help. I have some contractors that do paid at closing or paid after the fact so you could get going or paid after you get insurance. I have ways that I can help you list it without going on market. How can I help you? And then you can use this in a text message, but it's not as efficient. I get a lot of people that are saying, oh yeah, we're not interested because they think I'm just a scammer. But when you're calling them and you are show empathy and you're saying, hey, and how many of you guys and pick places that you have friends and family that have been going through this. Be honest. I have friends and families in Tarpon, Vika. I have friends and family in Clearwater for Maya. Malik, St. Pete, you're probably all over the place. You have friends everywhere. And Michelle, Tarpon. So you have like all these places that have been affected. Pick those areas and go through it and go through this thing and say, hey, I'm trying to help some other people's. It was tragic. It's crazy. I've been through it. I know you guys had some things happen. So how can I help you through this? So this is the off market that you're going to get with Monday.com. So, okay. So I'll let you guys do some calls, test it out. If you guys want to pick a day that we could do some calls together, that's totally awesome. The biggest thing I wanted you guys to do is to understand and to kind of get the idea of how to approach these properties that are flooded because that's the low-hanging fruit and that's what everybody's buying right now. And not only that, like Maya has a property down in Sunset that is going for 1.6. She was down there working with them. The bottom floor got flooded. We drive past a VRBO or a for sale by owner, and we called them on the phone and they said, yeah, okay, you can list my home. So now she has 2 on the same block. So people are just selling like crazy. So if you have a property that you're thinking about that you could get to list, go buy the FSBOs. I know Malik was really good with this. Go buy those FSBOs and just say, hey, and this is the time. I suggest Maya run by that whole street because as we picked up that one, right there, the other 2, one to the right, one to the left, went for 4.2 and the other one went for 4.3. So we could have got those listings too. So that when you get a listing, make sure you're doing door knocking on that street and say, hi, I'm Vika. I just listed a property on your street. I wanted you guys to know. So number 1, if you have somebody that's interested. And number 2, if you thought about selling, I'm here and it's easier for me because I'm having people call anyways. So now I can refer them to your house and I can help your house sell quicker. So it's the best way is door knocking around places that we already have listings for. So
What do you think is like the best thing, I guess, to say when you first go up? Like if you were to door knock.
yeah, the same thing I just said. So just go up there and say, hi, I'm Maya. I have a listing, right? We have a property that just went for sale, but just went active, or actually this one's still working on getting active. So say, we are still working on getting this property active. I was wanting to give you guys the knowledge that it is going live soon. So if you have anybody interested, your family that's looking to come move in, they're going to ask you all kinds of questions. What is it selling
Mhm.
for? How many bedrooms? This, that. So you're going to talk to them for a little bit and say, are you thinking of selling it all? Or, because we'd love to help you because we're going to be listing it anyways, that I'm going to have open houses and brokers opens that we could just combine the two and we'll sell it quicker. So it's just a way to approach it, but focus on that you want them to know that you have a house for sale so that if they have any buyers that you can help them with it.
Okay.
But I would definitely knock. And I've seen people do that even if that they don't have the listing in that area and go up to them and say, "Hey, I just want to see, I know there's a property for sale right here, and I wanted to know I'm looking for if you know anybody that's looking to buy it, I'm helping them find buyers because that's your job. You're trying to find buyers in general. I'm looking to help find a buyer for this house and wanted to know if you might know anybody or if you were interested in selling." So it's just another way to do it. It sucks, but talking to people is so much better than texting because everybody else texts now. So using that option, hardly anybody's doing it anymore. So definitely that's a good way of doing it. And it's a good exercise. Just put your watch on. You'll get steps. So, okay. So I taped this. I will go ahead and send this to you guys so that you guys can look back and like the FEMA letter, you can look it over. Anything that you have questions on, text me. I do have to go for a minute. I know Vika, I need to talk to you. I'll call you back in just a little bit. And then same with Maya. I met with the inspection today, so I'll go over that with you. But I do have to run something and I'll come back. So I'll give you guys a call in just a little bit. Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
You not right now, but later, right?
Yes, whenever you're ready.
I'm ready now.
No, I have to call you back because I do have to run and then I'll
Oh,
come.
okay, got it. Perfect. Yes,
Not
and
too
I'm
long.
ready. Oh, okay, sounds good. Thank
Okay.
you.
All righty.
Thank
Bye.
you
All right.
so
Thanks.
I'll
much.
talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Yes, bye.